All hell broke out and I wasn't prepared. I think I just have to tell you what happened. So this summer, all hell broke out in my life. When I tell you that I was like this close from not being a Christian anymore, this close, like, you know, the little space between before you close, like I was that close to not, to like just walking away from God. And it was the most trying time of my life. When I tell you that I never had a trying time like this summer, I never had one. So let me tell you what happened. In the beginning of June, I was in Chicago for one of my cousin's graduation, and you know, it was cool. Getting money, you know, we're celebrating. She graduated from high school. She was going to college a few months later, and you know, it's time for me to come back home. At the time, I was living in Alabama. Come back home to Alabama, cool. I get home, I'm tired, you know. I was just exhausted. I didn't pay attention, and then I, you know, noticed that it was a storm because I knew we were kind of in the tropical storm season, and it was a storm, and I had this big tree in the front of my house, a huge tree. It was a nut tree. I forget what kind of nuts. It was like either acorn or walnut. Anyway, it was this big tree in the front of the house. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe the storm kind of knocked some branches down, and no big deal. We'll get it cleaned up tomorrow, whatever. I go into my bedroom and I try to flick on the light. There's no electricity. So naturally, I just look up at the sky and at the ceiling, and I notice that there is a crack in the wall. And the crack in the wall, like it was the wall, here's the wall structure and here's the wall. So it's more than a crack, it was separated from the wall. And so I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, it was bigger than some little branches falling on the tree. On the house. So I go home, I go outside, I look up, a big branch of the tree had fallen on the roof where my bedroom was, and it fell so hard that it shifted the structure away from this. It shifted the wall away from the structure. I'd never seen anything like it. So naturally, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I really can't stay here because of where the hole is, and you know, we're still in rain season. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to, you know, go get me a hotel for the night. I had renter's insurance, no big deal. I didn't think anything of it. You know, I was a little irritated, but I really didn't think, you know, what was going to happen next. So I called my landlords, who were very supportive, very helpful, letting them know, you know, what was going on, and we were trying to get the matter resolved. This is the beginning of June, let me remind you. And so what ended up happening is that, you know, it was difficult to try to get people out there to get that stuff fixed because everyone seemed to be having these problems. We were in a rainy season. So what I thought would probably be a few days stay in a hotel ended up being almost 2 months in a hotel. I literally stayed almost the whole summer in the hotel from June 12th to July 28th, almost 2 months in the hotel. It was tough. So during that time, I was working, I was teaching, and the this institution I was teaching at was having some problems with my pay. So that meant that my stipend that I was on for fellowship in the academic year stopped because I graduated in May, so it stopped at the end of April. And so I started teaching in May. I was supposed to get paid in June, so I was okay because I had a little bit of savings, you know, to last me till that time. And so the pay got messed up. And so I'm living in a hotel, and I don't have any money because I'm working, I'm teaching for the school, and I don't have any money, y'all. Like, I literally ran my credit cards up, like maxed them out. At the same time, I am having to part ways with my current season and plan for the next season because I had accepted a position at a teaching institution, not a teaching institution, at a college out in Las Vegas, and I accepted a job. And so I'm having to plan to move to Vegas while pack up in Alabama with no money, and I'm living in a hotel. And it didn't get easier. In fact, it got harder. It got harder. I wasn't prepared. So I'm like, okay, I still have my book club. I still got to pray every morning. It became increasingly difficult for me to pray. I was so stressed out. One, I was moving from Alabama to Las Vegas, Nevada, right? Across the world to me, right? And I'd only been to Vegas to interview and to find housing, so I really had never lived on the West Coast, so I'm nervous about that. Anybody who's in transition really kind of knows it's kind of difficult when you're trying to move and you're in transition. Like, that is the most unstable time because you're not where you are. You're not back here, but you're not where you're going either. You're in this middle ground, this unsure space. So I'm transitioning. Transitions are always difficult for me anyway. I'm transitioning dangerously too, because I don't have any money. I'm staying in the hotel, and I'm trying to part ways with my current season and move to the next season that I had nothing, know nothing about. So I still have to pray. I was like, oh my God, God, you're going to make a mockery out of me. You're going to, embarrass me. I'm sitting here, I'm praying. I paid my tithes. At one point, I literally went off on God. I really went off. I was like, you're wrong. You're wrong to put me through this. I've served you. I've been faithful. Okay? I show up for people. I have a good attitude most of the time. And you are going to sit here and let me go down like this? So, I was like, okay, cool. I got it out of my system. Maybe like a week and a half later, we go through more storms. And it was also difficult to get the roof repaired because it kept raining. And so as a result of it keep raining, and as a result of it being a hole in the roof, one last rain, and it rained in my closet on all my main clothes. It rained in my closet, y'all. Do you know how it feels to have majority of your wardrobe messed up? Yeah, so it rained in my closet and I almost lost it. Like, people who saw me and who knew what I was going through, my face looked like I was going through puberty. It looked like a pepperoni pizza on it. I cannot make this up. I was so stressed out. It was ridiculous. I just didn't know what to do, and no one could really help me because I had to pass this test. I didn't want to go through this trusting God season again. I didn't want to do it. I was like, I'm not really about this life right now, and apparently I've been talking about a God I really don't trust, so I probably should stop just being a Christian right now, and just go out and take this into my own hands. But God kept saying, will you trust me? Will you trust me? You say that I'm a way maker, a miracle worker, a promise keeper. I was singing these songs, but I never needed God to make a way, ever, not ever, okay? So I got all my destroyed clothes and took them to the cleaners. Thank God, majority of them was salvageable, and thank God I had renter's insurance. So if you don't got renter's insurance, you need to get you some renter's insurance, just in case. I had renter's insurance, and I think my cleaner's bill was like almost $1,000. And so that stuff was, I was out of clothes for a while. I only had some of the clothes that were in a hotel with me, which really weren't much. I still had to teach. I still had to show up. I still had to pray every morning for the most part inside of my book club. I still had to be faithful and try to have a good attitude when my insides were falling apart. I was crying every day. Do you hear me? Because not only was I transitioning from Alabama to Vegas, I was also transitioning from a student that I've been my entire life to a professional. Even though I've taught before, I didn't have the safety net of being a student anymore. So everything was being taken and stretched, and I was becoming someone I didn't know. So, long story short, the school was still late on the payment. And I had to sign my lease to get to Las Vegas for my apartment here to secure it. I had to sign it a week before I got here. So by faith, I signed this lease, y'all, not knowing if I was going to get paid. Do you know how scary that was? I moved to Las Vegas with $28 in my pocket. I stayed with my cousin the first night because he picked me up from the airport and I wasn't able to get in my place till the next day. $28 in my pocket. My heart was pounding the 5 hours it took from Alabama to Las Vegas. Okay? In the midst of that, let me back up a little bit. I had to get a lot of my stuff shipped because I was doing a rather light move. I really didn't have the money to move, and the school reimbursed you. So I got my car shipped. The car company shipping was a disaster. The people came and picked my car up a week before they were supposed to, which meant that I had to get a rental car for a week. I already don't have any money, but I put it on a credit card. I had to get a rental car. And then a few days before, maybe 3 days before I got to Las Vegas, a random guy called me and said, hey, I have your car. I'm not sure where to drop it off at. And I said, who are you? Because you shouldn't be calling me telling me that you have my car. The person I gave my car to in Alabama should, be calling me. So I'm not sure why you're calling me and who are you now. I'm nervous because my car is in Las Vegas and I'm in Alabama. And, this is my only form of transportation. All right. So that's what happened. He calls me. I'm freaking out. Who are you? You have my car. He barely speaks English. So me and the guy get into it on the phone. And largely because I was already irritated. But the fact that, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be in Vegas for another few days. And per the agreement, this was supposed to be delivered on this day. So I'm not sure, what's going on. The guy was saying, hey, I have other drop-offs to do. I need to be in Denver by tomorrow. So, I can't accommodate this. Can you come get it from my house? No, I can't come get it from your house, sir, because I paid for door-to-door delivery, right? I'm freaking out because I do have some valuables in the car, and it's my car. And so he's like, well, I don't know what you're going to do. So I call the people who I contracted the car through. I'm hysterical. I'm upset. They're like, okay, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Long story short, they were like, okay, it's worked out. He'll drop it off to you on the day that you all agreed to. Okay, cool. The day we agreed to, that morning I woke up. Thank the Lord, I had part of my payment from the school that I was teaching at. If that payment didn't come through on that morning, do y'all know how stressful that is? The morning of is when I got paid, y'all. And if anybody has ever signed a lease, you're responsible for that money, no matter what, right? Morning of, I get paid. Whew, I can breathe. God came through. Here, okay, cool. We're gonna go do this thing. I get my money orders for my rent, give it to the people. I'm here. I'm waiting on the car guy. Hey, I call him. Hey, we agreed at 10 a.m. I don't have my car. What's going on? Just want to update. He was like, well, let me call the dude who has your car. Mind you, this is the second dude I already talked to. So now you're telling me someone else has my car? This is a third person? So he calls me. He's like, okay, this is what happened. I had to go make the drop off. I left your car in a valet at a casino because it was free. And I tried to pay a tow truck to come get your car. To bring your car to you, but they won't give him the car because he doesn't have the title and he isn't the owner of the car. Of course he doesn't have the title or isn't the owner of the car because I have the title and I'm the owner of the car. And why is my car at a hotel casino? Mind you, this is my first day in Las Vegas. I don't know anything about Vegas. And so I had to go find my title, go get my car from the casino, which was, a bit of a hassle, but that's okay because they were just doing their job. And, I had to woosah. But all of this was happening in the middle of this transition. And it was the hardest thing I had to go through. And I felt that because I was a Christian, that God owed me an easy time. Because I paid tithes every month, because I was faithful, because I got up and prayed all the time, because I was trying to really live a straight and narrow Christian life based on what I believe. I felt that God owed me something, and he had somehow betrayed me. I literally was going to be singing Chris Brown Deuces song on my way out. Because I had never felt so betrayed in my life. I was like the disciples, like, carest thou not that I perish? When the ship was sinking, do you not care if I perish? Do you not care if I can't get here? Like, you're silent. You're silent. you get silent on me. I'm praying. I'm fasting. I'm believing in you. I'm selling books, you know. I am being a good steward. I've been a good steward of my money. I saved as much as I could save because quiet is kept. Graduate students don't make a lot of money. So I was, tithing 10%, saving 10%, living off the 90. I was doing this stuff, but life still happened, and I felt that God had betrayed me, and I was almost out. I was almost out, y'all. And it shocked me how quickly I was willing to dip out. But it's so interesting the ways in which we say that we believe God. We believe he's a miracle worker. We believe he's a healer, but we don't want to be sick. We don't want to be tested. We don't want to be broke. We don't want to walk through poverty. We don't want to experience these things, but we say that God is this God. I didn't know God as a way maker, a promise keeper, a physical healer. I didn't know God is that because I never needed him for those things. And then he's like, I'm going to show you who I am. And when he started to show me, I was almost like, and it was the most humbling experience because then I really realized that no matter how hard I worked, no matter how well resourced I was, no matter how many connections I had, when God wants to test you and show you something and grow you up, none of that matters. And when I tell the story to people now, they're like, oh, why you didn't say anything? Because I know it was a test. Yeah, I cried, I spit, I farted, whatever. I threw a tantrum, but I knew it was a test, and I knew that I didn't want to go through it again. I was already halfway through it. My face was breaking out. I don't want to go through it on another level, a bigger test. I'm going to take this test that seems big to me now because I don't know how big the next one is, and I really don't want to go through it. And that was a crash course in believing in the God that I say I serve. And I almost walked away. I can laugh about it now because I did it. I did not walk away, but I wanted to. I can laugh about it right now and tell you honestly that was something that I thought about. Sometimes people see me and they're like, oh, you're so good. You walk this straight path. No, more times than not, I want to stop. I want to dip out, if I'm just being honest. I do. But then I realize that the risk is very great, and I don't want to go through the whole come to Jesus stuff again. I gave my life to Christ in 2013, November 2013. It's now 2018. And I can definitely say that I am nowhere near the woman who I was when I first started my walk with God. Not even. But the thing that we have to understand is that sometimes they say, oh, you're going to go higher in God. I want to go higher in God. That was my prayer. I want to go higher in you, Lord. Lord, let me go higher in you. Let me go higher in the spirit. Let me go to new levels, from glory to glory, from faith to faith. Do you know what glory to glory is? You know that process from glory to glory? This in-between space right here? That's what space I was in. From glory to glory. That suspended space where you don't even know if you're going to fall or go up. You don't know. You hope God had you. You say you believe God has you, but you're still like, I really don't know because I've been dropped before. I really don't know, God, if you're going to come through because other people have said that they was going to come through for me and they let me drop. They let me down. They disappointed me. And in that moment, God showed me that I'm not mad, Briana. You're still treating me like I'm one of these people who let you down. I've never let you down, and if we're honest, you're the flaky one. I've never dropped you. You've walked away and you've fallen, but I've never dropped you. And I had to keep reminding myself. I was in the Bible so much, y'all. I was crying so much. And I really, you know what, when I went through my breakup that I had to, when I stopped dating for a year, I taught myself not to be emotional. And God was breaking that. Because when you do that, when you go through something like that, whether whoever's fault it is, when you part ways with someone you've been with a long time, it's a death. It's a slow death that starts to happen. And God was like, no, you're not going to become bitter. Because once you become hard, your heart is hardened. You can become bitter very easily. And you can still be nice and be bitter. And I'm not going to let you do that, so I'm going to break that. I'm going to break that spirit of strength that you operate in that's really false strength. I'm going to just go ahead and stop that right there, right? And I'm so glad it's over, y'all. I'm so glad it's over because God is faithful. He would not leave you there. If you have the mindset and the courage to keep going in Him, He will see you through it. I didn't really know that, honestly. I've only had one big test before this financial test, because generally my biggest test came in the area of relationships. And so I really kept having to take that test over. I've never had to take a financial test. And I did. And my relationship with God got stronger and it grew. And so I just want to encourage you. Stay the course. I want to encourage you that when things get hard, keep going, because you come further than you think already. You're already further. You're already out there. Keep going, because the other side is so much more beautiful. So I hope my honesty encouraged you. Don't walk away. You don't have to. We all go through it. It's a learning curve. It's about maturing and accepting more responsibility. So I hope that blessed you. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, please do, Briana Whiteside. If you're not following my IGTV, please do, Briana_Whiteside. And turn your notifications on, because I'll be doing more of these. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.